Hello and welcome to the continuation of the Macbeth revision guide series where I'm up to Act 1 Scene 3, and as you can see on the screen we have the original text from Shakespeare in the green and the modern translation into English in the blue. And as this is a really long scene, I'll just read through the blue section, but this is part of a playlist, so please do give the video a thumbs up and let's start off. So, as you know, every alternating video is detailed analysis. I bit my tongue then. But in this video, it's just a translation. So, scene 3 takes place in an open place near forest, and there's thunder, and in come the three witches from scene 1. And the first witch says to the second witch, "Where have you been, sister?" I'm just reading the modern translation, obviously. And the second witch says, "I've been killing pigs." And the third witch says, "Sister, where were you?" And the first witch gives an elaborate story now. A sailor's wife had chestnuts in her lap and ate and ate and ate. "Give me them," I said to her. "Go away, witch," the fat-bottomed lady said. "Her husband's gone to Aleppo in Syria. He's the master of the ship, the Tiger." So this is now the chestnut woman's husband. "But I'll sail in a sieve, and like a rat without a tail, I'll cause lots of mischief and harm." There's a detailed analysis of what that little bit of speech in the next video, but we'll move on here. So the second witch basically says, "I'll give you some wind to help cause damage to the ship." And the first witch says, "You are kind." And the third witch says, "I'll give you some wind too." And the first witch says, "I control all the other winds in all the parts where they blow, every place where they can reach on a sailor's compass. With this wind I will prevent him from getting to port and taking on fresh water. He won't get any sleep at night or during the day. He will live like a cursed man for 567 days. Shall he get thin and miserable? Although his ship cannot be sunk, it would experience storms at sea. Look what I have here." So really the witch is saying, I'm going to make his life misery with storms and all the rest of it. The second witch says, "Show me, show me." The first witch says, "Here I have a sailor's thumb, shipwrecked and drowned as he made his way home." And then there's the noise of a drum. And the third witch says, a drum, Macbeth is coming." And they all say together, "The supernatural sisters, hand in hand, fast travellers of the sea and land. They go around the world, 3 to you and 3 to me, and 3 again to make up 9. Quiet, the spell is ready." And in come Macbeth and Banquo. Macbeth says, "I've not seen a day like this before, where the weather's been so bad, but also so good." And Banquo asks, "How far is it to Forres? What are these things with clothes so dirty and shabby? They look like they don't belong here on earth, but yet they are here. Are you alive, or are you something that a man might question whether you are alive or dead? You seem to understand me. Looking at your withered finger on your lips, you should be women, and yet your beards stop me from believing that you are." So Banquo, is talking to the witches and thinking, are they women with beards? And Macbeth says, "Speak if you can, what are you?" And then, very famous, you may well know these lines, the first witch says, "All hail Macbeth, hail to you, Lord of Glamis." And the second one, "All hail Macbeth, hail to you, Lord of Cawdor." And the third one, "All hail Macbeth, you will be king in the future." So there are these 3 different prophecies. All of these things, Macbeth is not any of them at the moment. And then we don't see how Macbeth reacts, but Banquo says, "Macbeth, why are you so startled and afraid of things that sound so good? In the name of truth, are you witches imaginary, or are you as real as you appear to be? You greet Macbeth with his present title, but also predict that he will have another noble title and will soon become the king. He seems completely fascinated by it. You've not said anything to me. If you can look into the future and say which crops will grow and which will not, speak to me about my future. I don't beg for good things from you, nor fear bad things." The first witch says, "Hail," the second witch says, "Hail," the third witch says, "Hail." And then the first one comes back with, "You are less than Macbeth, and greater." So that's a bit of a head trip. The second one says, "Not as happy as him, but much happier." The third one says, you shall be the father of kings, but not be one yourself. So all hail Macbeth and Banquo. So it seems that Macbeth gets these three really nice prophecies, and then Banquo gets a kind of riddle, doesn't he? He's probably thinking, what? I needn't have bothered asking. That's just a head trip. The first witch then says, Banquo and Macbeth, all hail. And Macbeth says, stay, you incomplete speakers, tell me more. Because Sign, that's his father, died. Sinnow. Because Sinnow died, I became the Lord of Glamis. But how am I the Lord of Cawdor? The Lord of Cawdor is alive, a wealthy gentleman, and that I could be king is something not even worth believing. No more than it's worth believing I'm the Lord of Cawdor. Tell me from where you got this strange information, or why upon this damned field you stopped us on our journey with such a greeting about the future. Speak, I command you. So Macbeth is fascinated, isn't he? He realises, I'll just correct what I said earlier, he realises he's already the Lord of Glamis, but he thinks, well, I'm not the Lord of Cawdor, and I certainly am never going to be king, and he wants to know more, and the witches vanish, leaving Banquo and Macbeth. So Banquo basically says the earth, like the water, has bubbles that spirits like these can disappear in. Where did they disappear to? And Macbeth says into the air, and what seemed to be made of flesh and blood melted as if it were breath on the wind. I wish they'd stayed. Banquo says, were they even here, these creatures we're talking about, or have we eaten something that's made us go mad? And Macbeth says, your children shall be kings. Banquo says, you shall be king. Macbeth says, and Lord of Cawdor too. Was that not what they said? Banquo says, those exact words. Who's coming now? And then come Ross and Angus. And every time it says Ross, I just think of Ross from Friends coming in and saying, hi. So Ross says, the king has happily heard, Macbeth, the news of your success in battle. And when he reads about your personal involvement in the fight against the rebels, he doesn't know whether to praise you or express his amazement. Speechless with admiration, he looks through the day's events and finds that you also fought against the Norwegians, unafraid of the hideous and barbaric scene that you created yourself with your killings. Thick and fast come messengers with messages, and everyone was very complimentary about you for defending Scotland, and they passed these messages on to the king. And Angus says, we have been sent to give you a message of thanks from the king, only this is not the only payment you will receive. And Ross says, and as a token of the honour you are going to receive, the king told me from him to call you Lord of Cawdor. So because of this, hail, most worthy Lord, for it is yours. So what we're seeing here, and again there'll be more detailed analysis of this in the next video, but what we're seeing is that the very thing the witches prophesied happening is now happening. Banquo says, can these witches have been right? And Macbeth says, the Lord of Cawdor is alive. Why do you give me another man's title? Angus says, the old Lord of Cawdor is still alive, but he won't be for long. There's a case against him which he deserves to be killed for, whether he was helping the Norwegian forces or helped the rebels by strengthening them and giving them information, or he helped both of them to weaken our country and destroy it, I do not know, but he has been destroyed by these treacherous acts which carry the death penalty, to which he has confessed, and they've been proved. And Macbeth, as an aside, so just the audience can hear, says, I'm Lord of Glamis and Lord of Cawdor. The best is yet to come. So straight away he's thinking about being king. And he says to Ross and Angus, thanks for all the trouble you've gone to. And to Banquo, do you not now hope that your children will be kings? Because the witches who've made me Lord of Cawdor promised that they would. Banquo says, if you accepted that completely, it would encourage your hopes of being king as well as Lord of Cawdor. It's strange. Agents of evil will often tell us simple things that are true so that they can win us over and make us trust them, but they will betray us and tell us lies about something much more important. Friends, can I have a word with you? So there's a sense here that maybe, to play devil's advocate, so to speak, the witches knew about this promotion that was coming to Macbeth and then kind of threw in the king bit to sort of start the chaotic acts that follow. Macbeth, as an aside, says, well, two of the witches' prophecies have come true, like 2 promising introductions to the great story of me becoming king. I thank you, gentlemen. The witch's prophecies can't be bad, can't be good. If bad, why does it promise me great success by first making me Lord of Cawdor? If it's a good thing, why do I feel uncomfortable with it, and why do they make my hair stand on end and make my heart beat against my ribs in an unnatural way? Frightening things happening now are less terrifying than what we can imagine. My mind, which thinks of murder as a fantasy of wild moment, is shaking me to my core so that I can't do anything except think about the future, and nothing is real to me except the fantasy of being king. So straight away is obsessed now with this idea of being king. And Banquo says, look how Macbeth is lost in his own thoughts. Macbeth, as an aside, says, if fate will make me king, then I may become king without having to do anything. So that's a really important quote from Macbeth, which he soon goes back on. But he's basically saying, well, if I'm going to become king, it's going to happen. I don't need to do anything to make it happen. Banquo says his new title does not fit him yet, like new clothes that don't fit properly, but that we get used to over time. Macbeth says, whatever happens will happen, even the worst days come to an end. Banquo says, good Macbeth, we're ready to go if it suits you. Macbeth says, my apologies, my brain was taken over by memories of old. Kind gentlemen, I will remember all you have done, and I will think about them every day. Let us go to the king. We should think about what has happened, and once we've had time to do that, we can speak openly about it. And Banquo says, I'd be glad to, and Macbeth says, until then, we've said enough, come friends, and they leave. Well, everything you've seen on the screen comes from Mr. Bruff's Guide to Macbeth, so stay tuned for a short advert about that, and please do give this video a thumbs up.